going on, everybody? It's your buddy, it's your pal Spaz Phoenix, the YWC Reality Chick, and this is Blast from the Past. I don't think I've done a video on the night to review anything in this calendar year. I'm sure if I have, somebody will correct me down in the box below, but Battleground was tonight, guys, and I had a lot of fun with this show. I said in my predictions that this could be the best pay-per-view of the year, and for my money, get your guns cocked, locked, and ready, this was the best pay-per-view of the year so far. Not in that everything was 5 stars, but everything on this show served its purpose. This show, while it was enjoyable enough on its own, was a preview and prediction of what we're going to see at Survivor Series, was it not? And is that not what it was designed to do? Are the B pay-per-views not the laces that hold the boot together between the big 4 pay-per-views, or the big 3, depending on how you associate them these days? Everything here was somewhat of a new, young, progressing rivalry that I'm sure a lot of them are going to blow off at SummerSlam. So this was a bump in the road, and this was a very entertaining, very enjoyable, very sound bump in the road. So what did we have? We had the kickoff, which had 2 matches instead of 1, which is a hell of a lot better than Daniel Bryan, who until he comes back to the product is completely irrelevant, babbling for a half hour. Oh yes. We had Fandango versus Adam Rose, which is great. It got Adam Rose some time on a pay-per-view, kind of. It progressed the whole Fandango, Summer Rae, Layla, or Summer Lay, as some people are calling them now, story, and it was all good. Fandango came down in the beginning of the match looking very awkward because he's not dancing with anybody, and that's always going to be a little bit of a thing. It's always going to be a little bit creepy. It's, you know, a little Johnny Curtis-ish. But don't worry, we had Adam Rose coming down with all the rosebuds, including the 2 newest rosebuds, which are indeed Layla and Summer Rae. As the match goes on, Fandango intends to, you know, kick it up a notch, be more aggressive than we're used to seeing from him, because he's pissed off at the girls and he's going to beat up Adam Rose. But then the girls lead the rosebuds in a you know, the da 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 da, hey da 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 da, the thing they do around the ring, and they're sort of parading around the ring until Fandango stops them, demands to know what they're up to. He gets 1 slap, he gets 2 slaps, back in, a little bit more of a hoopla in the ring, eventually eats the party foul from Adam Rose. Adam Rose gets the win, and everybody goes home happy. It's a feel-good thing, and it progresses stuff, and I don't know where this is going to go for the girls. I don't know if they're going to be permanently with Adam Rose. It looked like they were going to be with Ziggler the other day. I don't know if they're just going to go and permanently valet anybody that's going against Fandango, but it is what it is. It was fun. The kickoff panel was bullshit, really. It was Renee Young, who I think is great, but Booker T, Christian, who kept trying to be, he was trying to walk a line between being a heel sucking up to the authority and a funny guy, and it just didn't work at all. Alex Riley, who's struggling to grow facial hair, not that I can really say anything about that. And they just babble, and the only one on there that I really want to pay any attention to is Renee Young, because it's Renee Young. We then have Cameron versus Naomi, the breakup of the Funkadactyls, and this is what it was. I really predicted this was going to be a squash, if I'm honest with you guys. It wasn't a squash. It was a lot of Cameron doing a lot of cheap shots, a lot of underhanded, outside the ring, brawling type tactics, and Naomi out-wrestling her at every stage of the game. Cameron wins with a handful of tights off of something. So, this is going to continue on to SummerSlam and maybe actually get onto the card. The Usos versus the Wyatts. I was really surprised that this was the curtain jerker for the main event, for the main card, going forward. The first fall was the Wyatts just owning the Usos. Just flat out owning them. Like, we are bigger than you, you are flies, we are going to swat you. And getting the victory. The second fall was much of the same, and the Usos pulling out a fluke roll-up that made them look very, very, you know, lucky. And then the third fall was a fantastic match that feels, I don't time matches, guys. This match went this many minutes and this many seconds. If you want that, go watch Mark Pearson. This match, the third fall, felt like it went about 10 minutes, and it was great. It was, you know, the Usos dominating with their speed until the Wyatts came back with strength and said, oh wait, no. And then it was the Wyatts dominating with strength until Usos came back with the speed and said, oh wait, no. There was a really wicked sequence right at the end where one of the Usos got a super kick on Luke Harper, and he immediately rebounded with the lariat, which I thought should have been the victory, but no. A couple more kicks back and forth, and the Usos are still your champions. Which means a couple of things, which means this rivalry is starting to lose steam a little bit because, you know, Usos win, LOL. They've got John Cena syndrome a little bit. But it could mean that we have some sort of no rules stipulation and they win the tag team titles at on one of the big 4 pay-per-views at SummerSlam, which would be good. I love the Usos, the Wyatt family's entrance with the creepy kid singing and then the generic like backwoods rock music to get them to the... I also love the fact that they still don't have a Titantron really, but they have a wash of white dots that just kind of blends in with the rest of the phones and lights and whatnot that are in the arena. It just completes it, because if they don't, then they have that big wash of light around the arena and a big black square where the Titantron is, and that really doesn't work, does it? So that's fine. Great match. Wrong people won, in my opinion, but hell, I still like the Usos. They still pull out a great match. They had a promo before this match over which one was cuter or hotter or whatever that I could really give a damn less about. They're really trying to channel their inner Rock, and I commend them for trying, but it's just not quite there yet. We have Rollins cutting a promo on how Ambrose is a psychopath and how he's the guy, he's Money in the Bank, he's the authority. He's got all this backup. He's going to squish this bug known as Dean Ambrose because he's a cockroach that just won't seem to go away. And he gets jumped by Ambrose, and he beats down guys, you know me and my nose and it's itchy. He gets beaten down by Ambrose. Triple H calls in all the backstage agents and security. It's funny when you see the backstage agents. I mentioned this to somebody as I was watching the show. You see the backstage agents and you name them off now. It's Jamie Noble, it's Fit Finlay, it's Joey Mercury, it's, I don't know who else. Somebody else. I thought I saw Bill DeMott. Maybe I'm totally losing it. But, Triple H kicks him out of the building. What's gonna happen? They're supposed to have a match tonight. Tune in and find out. Paige versus AJ is great because the work that these girls did in the ring, let me tell you, up until the Rusev match, which I'm going to talk about in a second, my cable was, you know, intermittent and spotty and sort of cutting in and out here and there, because unlike Alex and Preston, I still, in fact, think that if you're going to enjoy a product, you should pay for it. I'm one of those crazy guys. But my cable up here in Canada on Rogers was being a bit spotty, a bit here and there. So I was really sort of starting to lose my patience watching this particular match. But I still saw it enough to know that it was great. I saw that there was... obviously there was going to be some CM Punk chants at the beginning just because of AJ's association. What these girls did in the ring quickly drew that chant away from CM Punk and into a let's go AJ, let's go Paige chant. Which it's a little thing, but it tells me that they won over the crowd a little bit. It made the crowd stop trying to get themselves over and trying to be like smart mark crowd to genuinely appreciating what was going on in the ring. 2 exchanges here that were pretty good. One where Paige went for a slam and it was countered into a Black Widow, which Paige then countered into a face turn for a near fall. The other was Paige trying to lock in the PTO, which developed into a multiple pin exchange and ended in AJ getting the Shining Wizard and ultimately getting the win. Now, I didn't want this rivalry to end in one go. It's going to go to Survivor Series. I hope, as I've been saying for a while, and as a lot of other people have been saying for a while, that this goes to a submission match at SummerSlam. It's a fantastic match, and they're really playing up some sort of psychological deal with Paige because she would get pinned by AJ, and then when she was able to kick out, she was then scolding AJ like she hadn't done a good enough job. Like she was almost cheering for AJ in her match against AJ. So I don't exactly know what that's playing out to just yet. They're taking this frenemies thing to a kind of a weird psycho place, and I like that because if Paige wants to play psycho, we all know that AJ Lee can definitely play psycho, and we'll see where it goes from there. Shining Wizard gets the win for AJ Lee, and I have no problem with that. So, Swagger versus Rusev. This is where I actually had to unplug my cable box and reset it. And So I missed the first maybe 5 minutes of this match. When I came back, it was Jack Swagger countering Rusev's super kick into a Patriot lock. The second Patriot lock on the outside got countered into a ring post. Swagger head first into the ring post. Rusev wins by count out because Jack Swagger is out cold, and at the behest of Lana, Rusev brings an unconscious Jack Swagger into the ring and stomps on his back and puts on the Accolade. I will say, to Rusev's credit, because he had his foot worked on for what I'm assuming is the majority of the match from what I saw, when he did the typical stomp to the back, he did the stomp to the back and locked in the Accolade, but he stopped for a second and shook off his foot and sold the fact that his foot was injured. Take somebody like John Cena, who can't even sell in a match. You got somebody brand new like Rusev who's selling the injury even after the fact, which I think is great. I still don't understand. I'm not saying she's beastie by any stretch of the imagination. I do not understand the people that are out there right now saying Lana's the biggest and best and most beautiful bombshell WWE has right now. That is far false, and she's really annoying, and as soon as she starts cutting her promo, she kind of sounds like a dude. So I'm just putting that one out there. I don't get it. I disagree. Whatever. We have a Goldust and Stardust promo, which is fine, except for Goldust and Stardust are not part of this show, so it's kind of pointless. Really shows what I've been saying for a while, that Cody Rhodes is actually throwing himself into the Stardust character more than Goldust is throwing himself into being Goldust, which is cool, with Goldust constantly saying that he's now the normal one in the family, which is, you know, for those of us that remember True Blue Goldust back in the day when he was being all weird and Marilyn Manson dust and with the fuzzy tits and shit, that's quite a compliment in a weird way. I don't know. We have Seth Rollins coming out for his match with Dean Ambrose, who's not there, which is fantastic. Comes out, cuts a promo, says that he deserves to, because Ambrose was dumb enough to get himself thrown out of the building, he deserves to come out and have his hand raised and have his victory by forfeit acknowledged, and he yells at the ref, and it's fine, and he gets his hand raised. Ambrose comes back, attacks him in the aisleway, they pull apart, attacks him on the other side of the ring, they pull apart, he gives him a slam, or as he's attacking him through the crowd, they eventually come back around to the Spanish announce table, the poor Spanish announce table. He sort of has like a flapjack type toss, throw, mild suplex type thing on the Spanish announce table. Security tries to eject Ambrose. Ambrose breaks away, comes back for a little bit of a comeback, runs across the tables and tackles Rollins once again. They're eventually pulled apart. All the security, all the refs, all the agents pulling them apart. It's fine, it's wonderful. Triple H walks away with Rollins, making sure he's okay. He is definitely the company boy walking, you know, away under Daddy's arm type deal. It's all good. We are now looking forward to SummerSlam, are we not? This is doing exactly what it's supposed to do. Jericho versus Wyatt. Now let's look at this for a second. Because on one side, it was really cool, and on the other side, I was really worried watching this match. Because Wyatt, to my knowledge, at a house show, had some sort of mishap with John Cena where he was busted open hard way over his eye. I saw him on SmackDown only briefly, and I saw the darkness around his eye, and I thought it was like all done up to look more impressive than it was. But then we saw him tonight, and not only was it all like yellow-brown, like a really, like a bruise gone bad, but the rest of his face was pale as fuck, and he seemed like he was out of it the whole match. Now, being that Bray Wyatt is the psycho sort of cult leader character that he is, him being all wide-eyed and out of it contributed, you could say it contributed to the character and the psychology of the match, but at the same time it was just weird because you were questioning it. And if he was acting, then I give him full kudos for that. If he was legit not quite on his game, I don't know how to feel about that. At the beginning of the match, especially, the psychology was great. Every time Jericho had him in a hole, he was laughing his head off, and every time he got chopped or punched or something with a strike involved, he was staring at Jericho and laughing, and the mentality of that was absolutely great. But there was a point where Jericho was brawling with the Wyatt family on the outside. Commentators, I will say, did a really good job of playing up the danger of the Wyatt family being on the outside. Hey, these guys just lost another shot at the WWE Tag Team Championships. They're going to be really pissed. They're going to be more dangerous than usual. Makes Jericho look really good when he goes on the outside and he can hold his own with both of them. I like that. He's on the apron watching these guys get ejected by the referee. Bray Wyatt tackles him off the edge of the apron, which looks fine, except for not only does he hit the railing on the outside, he also hits the cameraman. Now, I'm thinking if Bray Wyatt was a little bit out of it, that part of it might not have been intentional, but whatever. Wyatt hit a really weird-looking move on Jericho, and he did it more than once. He had him up sort of like, I don't know how to explain it. like he was going to do a belly-to-back suplex, but instead of lifting him and going all the way up, he lifted him up and then brought him back forward on his knee, and it looked really painful because, you know, Jericho can ragdoll with the best of them, but he took it more than once, and then that mentality got continued. There were lots of counters involving the knees. Jericho countered the Bray Wyatt the running back spots that he does by lifting up his knees. Bray Wyatt returned the favor when Jericho went for the lion salt and countered with the knees. So there's a lot of focus on both of the guys' midsections. Bray Wyatt hit a rather devious-looking DDT on the edge of the apron where Michael Cole and King and JBL went into pure Taz mode, reminding us over and over again that that's the hardest part of the ring. And Bray Wyatt does sort of that running body avalanche in mid-ring the way he does. A little bit more of a back and forth and kind of sloppy back and forth towards the end. Ends in a code breaker and Jericho gets the win. I don't have a problem with this because if there was something wrong with Wyatt in this match, then it means that Jericho, like the pro that he is, pulled him through it and made the match look amazing. Still, second of all, Jericho had to establish himself. Coming back, this is his first pay-per-view match back. You need to establish yourself and remind everybody how great you are before you go and lose to somebody if you're going to go put them over. This is the thing. If Wyatt had just come in, squashed Jericho and moved on, there wouldn't have been much from it. Let Jericho have this one match where he's face-to-face with the guy, where everything's fair, where the Wyatt family got thrown out. Let Jericho stand face-to-face with him, be the legend that he is, show that he's dominant, and get the win. Now Jericho looks good. We're all reminded of how great he is. Go on to SummerSlam with some sort of ridiculous stipulation that might allow the Wyatts to be at the ringside or not. Let Bray Wyatt get his victory on the bigger stage. I'm going to be saying that a lot, and Jericho will be doing his job as far as the guy that puts him over. Everything was good. I really hope that Bray Wyatt is not as fucked up as he looked in this match, but if he is, I hope he gets helped or medicated or painkillered or, you know, go home and have a sandwich, put some color back in your face. As much as it contributed to his fucked up character, I don't want somebody out there legitimately performing injured. You don't want another Jeff Hardy situation on your hands, coming from me, the Jeff Hardy fan. We have Rollins. Once again, we see him leaving the building, which basically tells us that all the bullshit that Triple H had been spewing about Plan B was crap. And it really, really leads us to believe that there is going to be Plan C. Does it not? But Rollins leaves. He tells the security guard, hey, I'm well, I'm tough enough, I can handle myself, my car's right there, sends the security away. That's foreshadowing at its best, is it not? Because as soon as the security's gone, he starts darting around. Looks between the trucks, looks between the cars, looks behind him, looks in front of him. Which doesn't make any sense, because if he's that paranoid, he wouldn't have sent the security guards away. But, as he's looking... Okay. Again, how do I explain this? As he's looking towards the camera, as if he's looking off into the distance somewhere, say his car is over back where that calendar on my wall is, you see just barely in focus, you see the hood or the trunk pop open. Ambrose comes out with something in his hand. It shines, it's something made out of metal, and he jumps Rollins again, and it's brutal, and he takes him from pillar to post all over the parking lot. Again, this is build. This is fantastic build for SummerSlam, because we're seeing these guys want to kill each other, and we haven't sort of popped the cherry on seeing them in a match. This is fucking brilliant. A lot of people are going to say, oh, well, they advertised a match, they should have had a match. They had story building, they had intrigue, they had multiple instances that gave us a little taste of what SummerSlam is going to be like, and I'm sorry, this is a B pay-per-view. We needed that a lot more. I'm just putting it out there. We had what I forgot about by this point, which was the Intercontinental Championship Battle Royal. A couple things I'm going to say about this. What the hell was Damien Sandow dressed like? Why was the Great Khali there? Why was Ryback's logo on his tights a heart with an R in it? Why was one of the Matadors there? I mean, I know the other one is sick, so this one wants to make a paycheck. I get that. Why lots of things. Kofi Kingston and Cesaro had a bunch of spots. We had one where he was about to get powerbombed out of the ring, and he literally pulled himself up, crawling up Cesaro's back, face-to-face with his ass, and getting in the ring. He went to eliminate Cesaro. Cesaro held himself in the match by holding on to Kofi Kingston's hair. Then we had Big E eliminated, and we had Kofi Kingston basically jump onto Big E's shoulders and have this sort of like chicken fight thing going on with Cesaro, and eventually he's eliminated. What I love about this, what makes me laugh so hard, I'm a big Cesaro fan, as you guys know, but at the end of that entire debacle, Cesaro, who was the favorite to win this match, is eliminated by Heath fucking Slater. Oh yes, and everybody is up in arms about this. Everybody is in an upheaval about this. But let me tell you something, guys. If Maven can eliminate The Undertaker from the Royal Rumble, then Heath Slater can have one shining moment in his entire career of jobbing to everybody in a battle royal for a mid-card championship. No, he didn't go on to win. We'll get to that in a second. Got down to Ziggler and Sheamus, and I'm thinking, oh my god, they're gonna put both belts on Sheamus, and then no, fuck you, Sheamus, Ziggler's out, and then you think Ziggler's won, but no, my boy The Miz, brilliant as he is, who had been picking his spots, rolling out of the ring, watching the match happen, rolling into the ring when he thought he could eliminate somebody, rolling back out, rolling in when he thought he could eliminate somebody, rolling back out, and then hiding until the end. You know, quick dump on Ziggler out of the ring. And let me say it loudly and proudly, Mark Pearson, The Miz, who is awesome, is now holding your favorite championship. Suck it hard. Oh yes. Anyway, so that was fun. We may get Miz versus Ziggler down the line, or Miz versus Sheamus to unify the belts at some point, I've heard. All kinds of awesome. All kinds of awesome. And then we have the match that nobody cared about, the match that was telegraphed a mile away. If you saw my last video, it was a spoiler. It's an ad for SummerSlam. It's going to be Lesnar versus Cena, yada yada yada. So Cena was going to win this match. Always Cena was going to win this match. You know, Cena wins, LOL. They tried to make this match good. They tried to make a little bit of intrigue, you know. Would Reigns and Cena work well as a team? Would Kane and Orton work well as a team? And those stories don't make any sense when you're going for a singles title. They tried to do a TNA-style Tower of Doom suplex, and it was so fucking awkward. I like Reigns, but Reigns had a part in this, and this was fucking awkward as shit. Cena comes in, F5s for everybody, and wins. Now, we didn't get option C, or we didn't get option D, or E, or triple X, or anything. There was no Lesnar. There was no Rollins. When I made my predictions about this card and said that everything up to and including the main event is awesome, and then you could probably turn off the show before the main event, I was absolutely right. Ladies and gentlemen, chop the main event off this pay-per-view, and you've got the best pay-per-view of 2014, without a fucking doubt. The women's match was awesome. The tag match was awesome. I don't like who won, but there was nothing wrong with it. It was a fantastic 2 out of 3 falls tag team match. Jericho versus Wyatt, despite whatever the problems Wyatt was having tonight, still pulled itself to a great match. Rollins Ambrose we didn't get, but it means we're going to get something better in the future. Rusev versus Swagger is going to build to something fantastic. With the athleticism these two guys are showing, it's going to be fantastic. The breakup of the Funkadactyls is a typical breakup storyline, so it's nothing super spectacular, but you know what? It's a low-card Divas feud that doesn't even involve the title, so standards get lowered a little bit because they're not even in the championship realm. My boy, The Miz, is the IC champion, and once again, Mark Pearson can suck it, and hopefully, we can all pray to the wrestling gods, and I do not mean JVL. If there is right in the wrestling world, soon enough that belt will be off Cena, or sorry, off the beaten carcass of Cena, and around the waist of the one that is 21-1 that defeated the Undertaker's undefeated streak at WrestleMania. Ladies and gentlemen, SummerSlam, John Cena's getting destroyed. If there's anything right in this world, I enjoyed this pay-per-view, and I've said, and I'm going to keep saying it, and I'm going to keep saying it, and I'm going to keep saying it. The main event was shit, but it was still better than shoehorning somebody into the WrestleMania main event that didn't belong there. Oh yes, Best pay-per-view of this calendar year so far. If you disagree, spit it down in the box below, but it's going to be a hard sell for yours truly. Anyways, I've been Spaz, your YWC Reality Check. Subscribe up there, talk down there, start a conversation, keep all these conversations going. What did you think of Battleground 2014? Don't be a stranger. I'll talk to each and every last one of you later, but for right now, I'm tagging out. Bye, guys.
So shine, you're a freak like me.